Hey, hi everybody. Hi. Hi. Didn't know if I had the thing there. welcome. Rainbow hugs and tickles, everybody. We have such an exciting session for you. I'm so excited. I went through a really powerful, really loving, powerful connection with, got this one piece of hair there, with the Holy Mother. And as you all know, and thank you. So I'll just put out this little caveat because I was so grateful for those of you that had watched my last, Raw Mic Night with Joanna, going through the various vibrational, multidimensional experiences that we go through as conduits and channels, and as a crystal child. Quite impossible to discuss and to kind of move through, because nobody could really understand what a conduit feels and what they go through. So we try our best to kind of express the minutia of all energy in life. And so parts of that discussion, and from here on out, obviously, but I don't say it often enough. And so that's just me getting to be the excited teacher that I am, and just getting into the energies and all the beings that are always with us now and future now moments. For all of those listening, participating in Ascension, and wanting to get excited about your ascension, and excited about your soul growth and who you are as a being of light with Mother Father. And knowing in every moment that you choose to love yourself purely and to go within purely, then there's always those moments of pure activation and alchemy. And so that's up to each and every individual to shift those energies. And so some of you had reached out to kind of work through those discussions that I had about the various stages of my life, and those that were participating in the very most challenging experiences. And some of you had wanted to just assure that you weren't part of those, and absolutely not. The colleagues that I've dealt with, and again, go within on any video that you watch and just feel the energies within you of what's being presented. You all know, and as in many of my classes, I've often opened up about my personal life, which I don't really talk about because I really don't have one, other than those that press me to get in my field and get my energy and take things. And those are the ones that I present those energies to, because it is part of the collective. There's a real sensing of shifting of energies of the planet, and they're just it's not really separation, it's more harmony and alliance of energies. Those that are the opposing wills are being felt and known right now, and so those of the opposing wills are really wanting those continuing practices and plays and stories to continue playing out. So it's really being self-masterful to, as I did in those raw moments, to have those discussions about where you're going in your navigational path and who you're becoming. That is really, really profound. And as I was reflecting on it, I had kind of thought, well, should I take the video down? And I didn't want those that really did offer as a colleague and joining in classes, and those loyal clients that have always been with me, as I wrote in a little writing excerpt on Tumblr, as well as linked it to the community page on our YouTube. Those that have been loyal clients, that have been with me from the very beginning in KCOR days, and those that have been in the vocational sessions, those that have been working on their paths, and those that I know and I adore, and we commune and we collaborate in those ways. Those discussions are never for you in that way. Those discussions are for the collective energies that are seeing those opposing wills and those opposing experiences, those that are still going through abusive and dysfunctional narcissistic homes. So when I bring up my personal stories, take what you can and you will from what you're going through. So always ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Am I being triggered? Does this feel like it's something I can reflect on? So never ever think and take it personally. But what they showed me is that it's really important that we have those discussions. And I know a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, Carmen, who is a beautiful, beautiful divine feminine creator in the field of having various speakers come on her radio shows, and she can attest to how changing and how altering it is in the collective voice and the collective energy itself. Having those discussions where you do reach out and said, hey, I just wanted to reach out. I know that we've had a few discussions and talking, and this is how I felt, and it helps move those energies. And and you that listen in the audience, you have those times where you're feeling so connected with the energies that I offer, because it is of the Christ, my energy systems and my fields, and I'm offering this to you because it goes apart with our I'm so excited with all of the beings that are now coming through, the creator beings. It's a very crystalline energy, and they're the 12th dimensional, 13th dimensional, 14th dimensional beings that are working with me more purely on my fields and my resonance. So I'm so excited, and I speak really fast because I'm so excited that they're with me and they're in my field. And those are the energies that I offer as part of the Christ makeup, if you will. And we're going to talk about that as part of our channel. But what they wanted me to share with you is that, and I wanted just to share that part with you, that those of my loyal clients and those of you see me go through the minutiae, I do so because it's just a part of the ascension process about owning where you're at, being okay to talk about things that are raw and uncomfortable sometimes, because that's the only way that you bring that light and that truth and that honoring of the process of ascension. And it can be done in respectful and peaceful ways. When it's been done and you're hitting your head against the wall so many times, Archangel Michael and God will say, enough is enough, sever the cord, because the time has been given, and Spirit and God will move them along, because it becomes more disrespectful and wasting of everybody's time. And the beings that constantly play the games and constantly do their games in that way, those are the opposing energies that are going on the planet, and everybody can feel it. I was watching one of my beautiful friends, and he does completely different work, animal, shelter and those savings. And he was having a similar conversation about those even in the animal rescuing field are finding that same issue about opposing wills and competition. There's those that are aligned, pure of heart, and just simply do the good works. And then there's those that trigger because it helps each party grow. So how to release your energy on where you're spending your time and not really worrying about it, and having to continually to realign and continue your refinement on where you're putting your energy, how you're focusing your energy, continually reclaim and realign who you are. And so I wanted to talk about how important that was. And my video was really important because it was very raw. It was a very real experience of many, many years of abuse and many years of targeting that was unnecessarily and malicious. And it helps us all reach out and understand that together we're moving these energies for the entire collective. So it does help out when you put your comments and you do share your honesty and you do share. I loved our radio segment that time. We're sharing those energies. We're showing each other that there is support. And there are still those that are in need of us that have been on the path for a while to come forward and have those conversations. So Carmen, I absolutely so happy that you continue doing what you're doing, because there's very few divine feminine templates, if you will, and they're very, very healing for the planet. They really, really are. And I felt something really profound with the mother that I wanted you to share. But I wanted you to know that when you do reach out, whether it's an email or whether it's a comment, and you're being absolutely in your truth, if you're under a fake name and profile, and again, those of you that are loyal clients of mine are not, but there are still those that put fake names and profiles under, and those are the ones of the opposing wills that I'm speaking of. If you're putting in fake numbers and profiles and fake names, those are not being truthful and authentic. So they will not get responses. I'm usually just responding to those that have been my loyal clients, because their energies are just there. They're the ones that are continually doing the work and continuing to tap in. Not saying that these ones can't ignite and activate change at all, and that's not what that is. And I don't want it to appear any separation. But there has to be the refinement of how and who and in what way I'm spending my time and my energy. So my teams have said that, and many of you divine feminines will be like this as well, refining your vocational alignment that we talk about in our sessions, is ensuring that you're getting paid for the time and the energies that you're spending. And so what we're going to talk about today about the ascension energies for the next kind of season. So we've got a lot of channeled material about how to continually realign and refine your vibrational field. And one of those is really creating a higher level of discernment about your energy field, how you're refining it, how you're working on it. And I've got some tips for you. So you might want to get out your journals and your notebooks. And again, those of you that are putting yourself out there for the collective servitude, know that you can start really looking at your costs and how you're monetizing, how you're capitalizing on your gifts and skills. And spirit, for one, the highest in the ways, and those of us that have been in spirituality for a very long time, it has nothing to do about competition. So those that are in the energy of competition, there's work to be done there. And so that's very well that you're at that place, but just own it and work on those issues and work on those healings and work on those competition issues. But what they were showing me as well is that when you're looking at the servitude, the spirit is absolutely saying that you've had all of these lifetimes that you've earned certain gifts and certain skills. You've had maybe 15 lifetimes where you were a shaman and you did not get because in most of the times of shamanic timelines there was no monetary system. They were trades and goods, and most often than not they were very harsh realities, and there was no really pay in any way. So that was just your gift and your skill. So it's okay that you ask and you get your monetization. Make sure that your monetization is directly related back to your joys and excitements. So really play. The spirit wants you to play with how you can capitalize and monetize your gifts and skills, because you're meant to be of service and spirit wants you absolutely paid. Money in and of itself is just an exchange of your energy. So your energy is becoming more and more valuable and important because it's a commodity. It is the most important commodity on our planet. And that's why there's so many groups that try to play and sway and get in there to be the controller of human energy. And so they know this. That's why they watch. Where's the collective energy going? And they try and get those head-ins, and then they do their birth charts on those they want to start swaying, and they do their little practice. They have a pattern and their mental patterns, and that's why they don't go anywhere, because their mental patterns are steeped in darkness. Because those mental patterns just implode upon each other, which we've talked about a billion times. And so we're no longer spending any time with them because spirit are taking care of those. But what they wanted to say is that make sure you're capitalize on your gifts and skills. So think of really creative ways where you can make what you need to make sure that your bills and your needs are taken care of, but also know too that you're meant to be abundant. You've earned these skills over many, many lifetimes, like somebody like me. I'm just past my age of 50, but I'm working on a youth program for myself. So I'm feeling, more younger every day. But for all of these years that I've been nothing but giving and giving and giving and giving and giving as a light worker, and maintaining and rebalancing the fields that I exist within, and maintaining the balance in the fields of those that I encircle, I know what goes out. I know how much I output, and there's been zero input. And I say that in respect to, again, not those that are my loyal clients, and we have those communion sessions. It's just in general life. I have a very small handful of women over the last year that I've really maintained a really good, solid friendship with. And the last year has been really nourishing for me. And I really love the ladies that I work with now. And they're truly, truly loving and compassionate and genuine. And we have each other's back. And it's a very beautiful webbing that we're building with each other. And so, but otherwise, it's been those reciprocations where you do get those monetizations, and you do have, and also your colleagues. Think of how you can work with a monetization system with your colleagues, they're saying. And so just that you've got that backup for when you want to build and get bigger and wider, because spirit will be giving us bigger and wider projects. And so we're going to want to make sure that we're capitalizing on everything that we have downloaded from spirit, because we're meant to keep expanding. We're meant to keep putting our beautiful ideas and our excitements into play. And so we're going to have a resource fund, where we can keep pulling on and building on. So you're going to have most of us that will be out in the collective, we're going to have many streams of income. And so how to manage that, how to start doing your research on multiple streams of incomes, and how you can start building on those, and then building streams of ideas and operations with others that are in a similar practice with you, so that you can continue that expansive growth. You've earned those skills from those lifetimes, and it's only between you and spirit and source as to every time I tap into my guides, they're like, there are so much, because you've earned it. And spirit will make sure that nobody will be tapping in and taking and swiping it from you, because there's just been far too much ignorance and corruption, and spirit will be the head gatekeeper of that. There's been people that have completely abused the systems of spirit's grace, and those beings will be absolutely, there's like a no tolerance rule now. So over the years, you've known that we've offered these experiences. So those of you that are light workers, celebrate, yay! There's a no tolerance now. And so everybody has been very firmly, Spirit and God and the highest of the heavens have been very firmly shown. There's no more tolerance. And so there'll be those heavy unfoldings and distributions of karma. And those that are light workers are meant to move forward on the ascension path with Gaia and for the humanity will be have the way cleared. So just keep your connections with spirit. So you're maintaining that really positive momentum because you've earned it. You don't need to have people sideswiping you and coming in and deliberately, intentionally, wiping and derailing your plans just because you're having a slight 1/10 of a percentage of momentum. Nobody has that right. And the arrogance and the unhealed wounds and the issues that some do that with is their own insecurities, and they don't want to see another person that they know shine because it means that they have to level up and face their own accountability. So again, it's their issues. So just make sure you're severing the ties and you're releasing what is constant mess and constant chaos and constant drama. So really refine, and that's called discernment. Discernment's going to be really key over the next little while. So here's, so I just wanted to say that it was really important that I put that video out because it was a great healing for me. It really was. I felt so much better. And just these last couple of days, I felt a really profound shift. I had a lot of purging those next couple of days. It was really heavy in activation. There's been a reshifting of activation of the templates and the grids. So we're going to talk about that and how that's affecting the physical body. And so your physical body is going to want and need different things. So just know that. And also too, again, how you respond and connect back. And so that just shows the collective that yes, we're connecting and we're creating comments with each other that is kind and honoring and caring. And those connections help others know that, if and when they choose to do their blogging, they're understanding how to do an open raw series and speak of your experiences because they're true for you. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or says. Those experiences were true for you, and your alignment with God is all that matters. So it's really, really, really profound, and I can't say this enough, for Divine Feminine to continue doing what you're doing. Reach out, share your stories. We are rebalancing Divine Feminine on this planet. We are healing Gaia because Gaia's voice for thousands of years has been misunderstood, has been turned off, has been squashed, and that Divine Feminine of Gaia is within each and every one of us. And as well as all of the Divine Feminine on this planet that have been subjugated and abused. So so that's why I wanted to bring that forward in our connecting back and forth and in our emailing and say, hey, I was kind of triggered in that moment. I know that you're going through this stuff, and I always want you to know that I've been a great client of yours and a colleague of yours. So those things help work the energy. So we're all maturing, we're all leveling up in our mastery, and I just want to thank every one of you for being with me on this journey. Those of you that have been with me for KCOR days, and we've had our colleague sessions, and we're going to continue working together in different ways. I absolutely know we are. And I'm just so happy that you're with me, and I love all of you. I love all of you. I love all of you, and you absolutely know who you are. You beautiful, beautiful souls. And we do have many beautiful communion times when we're in the beautiful astral realms and sleep time. So I just wanted to thank you and know how much it helps the Divine Feminine Collective that when we reach out and when we talk about our energy, what we're going through, take ownership and accountability for how you're feeling. And did you get triggered? No, I'm going to own that for me. No, that story's not right for me. Thank you. But it's nice to hear that you're going through your thing. And I want to be there for those that are going through their thing. And I want to be raw when I'm going through my thing. So all of those help us share in the humanity of who we are and what we're going through and what women have gone through for thousands of years, but have never had the platforms. And so it's really, really important. It's so important. And it really allows us to have that beautiful golden egg. And that golden egg is the purity of God's voice. When you're doing something for Spirit has always shown me that you'll always receive the positive alchemy within yourself when you do something because it feels right for you. And it's not about this process being right or wrong and right or wrong choices. It's just an eternal alchemy of who you are. You're going to want to take 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 5 steps back, 12 steps forward. It's always that working the energy. And there's going to be times where, no, this was important for me as a Divine Feminine. And I had felt, because I knew that there was a precipice of change coming for me. And it was that closing of the door. And Spirit said, enough is enough. Sever the ties. It's over. It's done. You've said the same things over and over. The same cycles are continuing, and they're just not getting us. Let the heavens take care of it. And so, and also too, I wanted to let those of you know, um, oftentimes when I have said those things, and I've had that in my blogs about me and my business, my permissions were not given. I state those things because there's people that are now doing research and trying to find me and trying to correct what has been done. They were told stories that were quite different. So when it's heard from me and it's coming from me, those are my correct statements. Anything else is false and deceitful. So any paperwork that was signed without my knowing, any fraudulent activities that were without my knowing, any of those from the past, of those opposing wills wanting to control and wanting to completely enslave me and my energy and me and my lineage and whatever else their agendas were. Spirit is absolutely all over it. And again, there's no tolerance, and they'll be absolutely rewired and rebooted. So we've got a clear path now. So just keep continuing to protect your energy and love and honor your energy. The more fun and joy you have with yourself, you don't even have to worry about anyone that might be doing spell work agendas, because the energy vibrations are so different, and they can't even access you now because your energies are so different. But just ask your teams to put a veil and a filter over you so that people don't have those accessing energies. And those are usually those, for those of you listening now in Future Now Moments, those when you're stepping out of really heavy karma cycles, because you'll have those energies and entities that have been from other timelines, other planets, other universes, really. The energies that I was going through were a lot from other universes. And they were just had a few of those karmic people here on this earth reflection playing out those roles. And they were carrying forward those universal threads. Again, it's a multiverse experience. So sometimes those people before you are carrying out a multiverse thread because they have it in their soul's contract to transcend. And so just know that. But they're usually with those really heavy karmic stories where your rights are not being protected and your rights are being, again, it's all about control. So those are usually the subjugated experiences. And those are exactly what we're here to transcend, because again, they belong to many different galaxies and planets. So they're to be celebrated. And just know that Spirit will have your back 100% of the way. And when you claim your self-worth and when you claim your worthiness, Spirit's going to move everything for you. Because you got to claim it. First, you've got to know and claim that voice and that choice of your own, because that reclaims your sovereignty, which is what all the masters spoke about. So it's all very purposeful. It plays a very big part of our evolution. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I'm excited. Okay, my dear lighted ones. Today we're going to talk about self-centering for maximum joy. Feel the consciousness of you. That's a huge title. I probably won't put it all in the title field. I was asking my teams what they wanted, so that's just what they gave me. I'm going, don't you know much? But no, I really felt it. It really feels amazing. And I'm so happy and excited because it's been a very long time since I've had to rebuild my body, that I felt the profundity of all of the energies that I've been with. And so it's again, I can't explain how beautiful it is to feel Gaia again, to have those reshapings and remodelings of my crystalline field. I'm so very grateful. The 12th dimensional creators, they're like my big, like I just see the 12th dimensional creators as these very big men energy. That's how I feel the 12th dimensional creators. There's women energies in there as well, but the Holy Mother not overrides, but she's the overseer of the 12th dimensional creators. And so she came to me today, and she's very, very loving. She made me feel something really profound as my bodies and as my systems are being rebuilt from all of the damage that was done, and the horrible attacks that were done for so many years. She's allowing me, because those threads and all those cords are being purified and cleansed, and all of those energies and those memories and those timelines are being purified and taken away to be re-alchemized into something different. And those energies and those cords and the parasites and the entities and all of those things that the energies that were playing in my fields came with, because they were from other timelines. And some of those people were other familial roles in other galaxies and universes, and they felt entitlement over me. And so, but they don't know in this level of life, this earthly life, because sometimes you'll find that with really heavy karmic relationships, they don't only play, say, a shadow twin flame. It doesn't matter what you call them, but I'm just giving you that as an example. A shadow twin flame, which will really experience their shadow deeply so that you can level up in your light for their benefit, for your benefit, because it helps you reaffine. But there's only so much that you can put up with really when a shadow flame just doesn't get it and they're not moving into their light and they're not working on their shadow. Spirit will have them move on and you move on, because it only does damage and a detriment, because it is a magnetic connection, and it feels differently than the other connections because it's a lot more magnetic, and it only causes a lot of harm, which is what I went through. So much harm because of the games that were being played, and it affected everything multidimensionally. Again, I was a completely different person, completely rewrote myself. Thank you. And I did it all by myself. Everything I've done for this whole process has been me. So I've been a self-made woman. I feel so happy and proud of that. So these are part of the self-appreciation energies that I'm going to be getting into. And it's going to be a big part of our moving forward, because I will be a more and more profound, prominent voice for divine feminine, and how so important it is for our healing and anchoring these beautiful energies on our planet. And so the 12th dimensional creators, I see them just as this big, it's like a legal counsel. That's how I see them. And I just see them as these very big, burly energy men. But they always have the biggest smile, and they're like the most prideful fathers that you could ever imagine, but they're so soft and gentle, like big teddy bear hugs. And every time I meet with them, the first thing they always say is, "We love you so much, Joanna," and because they understand the challenges and the difficulties of what I went through, and my importance, and my love for God's work, because I get to see it at so many levels. I get to feel it at so many levels, and it means so very much to me. Um, um, and you all know, since I was in KCOR, there's just things when I connect with what I do, I just can't explain the joy and the love that I feel for expressing the bountiful abundance and joy that God and all of creation has for all of you, and how exciting it's going to be when you feel the consciousness of you. And that's what the mother helped me feel, because as I've been rebuilding and I was just sitting there and I was feeling it feels so weird. I feel my body for the first time in probably about, 18 years. The past 8 years have been very dark and very entrenched in webbings of toxic, dark, demonic, malicious, spell casting and sacrificial energy that they carried with them, that they projected at me and impaled at me on a daily basis, thinking they had entitlement to write my destiny, just the arrogance of it all. And to really create high vibrational writings and understandings, and create it to a point where it can be neutral, and understanding that those are energies brought from other timelines, and so that you don't have to get I'm not quite at that neutral state. I'm trying really hard, and Mother is helping me with that. I'm still at that point where I'm rebuilding, and I know how much work and how much time and how much effort it's taken me to rebuild who I was. And the 12th dimensional creators, offered me a while ago to make peace, and that's just like any abuse, whether it's a sexual abuse or molestation, or you're being taken advantage of, or someone's stolen your money, or they've stolen what's yours and they refuse and they deny it. All of those things are being abused. So in that way, you have to make peace with it and cut your losses. And that's what I had to go through. It was like, I knew this person for like 30 years and I had to cut my losses. I can't rely on anybody to do what's right and pay back what's meant to be paid back by anybody. So just cut your losses and move on, and they will never have any access. And those multi-vibrational threads, which they could have had connections, all of them could have done the work, and they could have had a reciprocation of energy and friendships, but they all chose their paths, right? And Spirit said, there's no wrong way. That's what their souls needed. And so it's going to be a really bumpy ride for some of them, because they'll have to equal what was taken, what was stolen, in every way, because I wasn't the only one affected. And those are how those timelines, and just educating people out there, And because it is a part of our whole entertainment industry, it's sports and industry, there's so much of this underground cult group stuff that goes on, and the sacrificing that goes on, which is completely just misunderstood arrogance and the wounding of the lack of self, the disconnection of the self with spirit. So if you get to that core wound and you heal that core wound, so much crime, so much corruption, so much disease, so much imbalance would never ever have to occur. Because in those underground, they don't even have any clue about universal law. They just don't, because they've been working in a 3D energy. But now that we're speeding up and accelerating, which is what we're going to talk about, those, whatever they are doing is going to come back accelerated, and it will come back, probably with a higher, more profound impact. And so spirit's getting better too at rerouting, those experiences so that they're not affecting the light workers, because the light workers have been gravely affected. Whether it's those that do great works for animals, whether those that do great works for, new inventions, there's always going to be that polarity and the opposing roles that want to have their energy back. They want to have the sway of those playing in their stories. But there's free will. That is the highest law, and that will be upheld at every level. And none have authority over that. 12th dimensional up to 352. They have promised us. That is the promise and the hope of the new 5D earth. And we are 5th dimensional beings, then we are breaking ground. And we will not stand down. We're reclaiming it. Yes, that is my birthright, to have my own state of my consciousness, my energy, my light, and I reclaim that. So daily, these are the tips that I wanted to bring forward, because when you feel your own consciousness, you feel that fullness of being the seed of spirit. You feel the magical energies of being the beautiful unicorn and the seed that you were brought forward with from source, and you're claiming that strength. You're claiming those energies that you have working within you. And why, again, it's so important for the divine feminine to come out and talk about those stories, because it adds to our moving credibility and story and momentum of transmuting and alchemy for eons. And so we're setting up new templates, which is what I wanted to get at, and why your bodies are going to feel so different. So these new ascension energies, new ascension shifts are going to allow you to feel into your consciousness of you. So really tap into the consciousness of you. What does it feel like to be consciously aware? So feel into your body, and we're going to practice some breath, and we're going to give you some tips so that you can write it out and work it out and do it a couple of times a day, and you'll feel the difference. You really will. Feeling the fullness of you as a consciousness being of spirit, and play with it. They want us to play with consciousness. They want us to play with our bodies and our fields and our spirited consciousness of who we are in the expansion of spirit. And this is where it really gets profound. It's just as I was practicing with Mother, because I was saying, who is this beautiful, gorgeous? I was like crying and going, oh my gosh, this is the first time I felt my body in so long, because it was taken over by such darkness. I don't say taken over in that way, but there was so much darkness impaled on me that I'm daily clearing and daily intentions and daily working with my guides and my teams and chambers and all of the stuff that I do in sleep time and dream time and all the other stuff that I do 24/7 to heal and clear and reset myself. I know energy, and I know how to continue that process. And you can only do so much when you have a life in 3D to move through and navigate. On top of my own regular, this is where the opposing wills, they do have no clue, because they're not doing their own ascension processing. Their focus 100% is on other people to gain their energy instead of doing their own work, because they're living in the fight or flight energies, and that's what they're living within. And so that's purposeful too, but there's no need to. But they had no clue or no understanding, nor did they want to, about the depths of not only challenge and warping and harming that they did to me. But as I was going through as a high vibrational crystalline child at a very high level of, God capabilities, meaning that I hold a ranking, if you will, because I have a great capacity to help. That's where that ranking comes from. I've earned it over the many lifetimes that I've been here. In the roles that I've been, I've earned the Akash that I have. I've earned it, and nobody can tap into it, and nobody can twist it and shift. And we've talked about all those things, ridiculous. But there was no understanding about when I was even going through a dark night of the soul, how much more challenging and how much more laborious and how much more unnecessary and damaging it was, because I was carrying an entire train load of density and ick and sludge that was completely unnecessary. If they only put 1/10 of the energy they put towards themselves, they would have a completely different reality right now. But that's the education and the acknowledgement that we all can offer. Anybody going through deep, deep, deep karma energies, where there are those in your lives or those that are coming to you for help about a controlling situation where they just don't want to seem to let you go, regardless of your free will, regardless of your human rights, regardless of your spiritual rights. And there are those sometimes that act from that, and they do take it to an unusual degree of violence, and it's not needed and necessary. So make sure that you always have an empowering you see those really cool reflection of the lights. They look like little light ships. So empower and encourage people to seek professional resources in the community, to seek professional development, to empower them to create a self-healing plan, to create, if they're feeling that intense and addicted and controlling over other people outside of them, there are deep imbalances and psychological wounding that they have. And so really empower them to go seek professionals, because they're in need of help. They're in need of help to repair those woundings that we've talked about from day one, because there should be no ever need to ever harm anybody. And that's why, again, those underground cults, again, it's seen in entertainment, it's seen in sports, any type of sacrificing whatsoever. They're not understanding universal law. They're not even aware that everything that they're doing as far as a sacrifice only adds karma to their timelines, only adds karma to their lineage, only adds karma to the lifetime that they have to come back and they have to live. So it will only put blocks on their next timeline. It will only put hurdles on their next timeline. It will carry that density of those stories that have to be played out until you clear those stories. So sacrifice in any way, nobody will gain anything in any way. And if there's a bidding system that's attached to it, those pyramid stories and those pyramid monies, anything that is done in any type of a way of a sacrifice, because it's always connected to feeding the lack of sense of self, because you're not feeding yourself and you're not connected with spirit. Therefore, you've got to do it through those outer gains, because your ego is wounded, your inner child is wounded, and you want to feed those with title, with money, with having a place within an underground community. And the pyramid schemes have to continue because they have to keep bidding. And so it's a cycle of darkness that they think that because they're going to keep sacrificing, it's going to build and it's going to do this, and that doesn't. It just builds on the darkness of your own timeline, because you absolutely will. Sacrificing doesn't change that karma to somebody else. It just doesn't. It will always stay with you. And this way, these people don't understand what they're doing. They're being told things that are absolutely false. Anyone that is involved, anybody, you're taking on that karma. It doesn't go to anybody else. You can't switch it to anybody else. You don't have that authority. You just don't. And anybody that tells you they do, they're lying their face off, because they're feeding on that density. So that's why then it's in all of our systems. It's corruption through every part of our social systems. So that's the education part. The more aware you are, wisdom is the power of who you are. What is your story? I'm not going to buy into any of that, because first of all, there's universal energies and laws that play far more of a power than anybody in some group that thinks they're going to start managing and playing God and putting money against any aspect of life. All life is sacred, period. So begin now. And so that's the story that we're rewriting. All of these corruptions and all of these falsities and all these illusions. And then you can just let go of the whole fear. There's no fear. The entities are just there feeding off the entities of these false stories. Once that story's gone, there's nothing there. So they're all kind of going, oh my gosh, there's nothing there. And then they start infighting. And then they start imploding because there's nothing there. It's an illusion. And that's when it all breaks, because there's no light in it. The light is saying, you can come out of that if you want. You can start healing those wounds if you want, which has been done in 5 years. So now it's God's taken over. And so the feeling of your consciousness, feeling of you. So let's do this. And so what they said is that the 3 tips that you can do a couple of times a day that really, really quick, and teach your children, teach those in your house. Again, the biggest centering and activating tool that you can have is breath. Breath, your intention and affirmations. Huge, because it's your commandmentship over your entire consciousness of who you are. right? Breath realigns you to your pillar of light, to the consciousness body, to the mental, physical, etheric bodies, causal bodies, that cause of whatever experience that's being activated, whatever experience that's being triggered, it's that cause. So you can shift that energy. That's why breath is so important. And again, while we said in our beginning, when you're reaching out and you're having those conversations, you're triggering the cause of whatever that was. You don't have to take any of those things on, but if you are feeling something, okay, well, let's move that. Let's move that energy. So you're becoming more powerful in how you're navigating energy, becoming again self-masterful, right? And so that's why it's important to have those blanketed, beautiful conversations of how we're working together, how we're moving energy, how we're leveling up, and how we're being okay in forgiveness, and how we're allowing spirit to step in and surrender to spirit, no longer paying attention to any of those stories and keep momentum going forward. And so take a deep breath and sit straight, because sitting straight is your way that you're aligning the back and the spine to carry in that greater light. And I practice this at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day. If you're having a release cycle in your ascension process, you can do it throughout your day. Or if you're around groups of people or people that you're having, disagreements with, because you're going to want to maintain your energy field. And there's other things that you can do if you wanted to connect with me, if you are having those challenging times, then I can give you more tips and tools. And so the first one is to maintain and sustain your fields. It's going to be really important because it's going to play part with discernment. When your fields and your bodies, and you're the commandership of all of you, you can sense when something's coming in, or when it's just a transmutation, or it's just a moving of energies. And I'll talk about what they said in a little bit. Sometimes when you're facing something that you just can't resolve, or when you're just continually going in a cycle or a circle with something that seems improbable to resolve, those opposing wills just cannot find their way through. When you're going through the divine relationship, those tools and those techniques that we've taught in our classes, and that doesn't seem to work, then because they are really eons long of stagnant energies, so you're going to need higher vibrational help. Sometimes what they told me, especially right now, because there is a big shift on the planet with energy, there's a big bathing of light on our energy field right now, because the templates are being shifted, as they showed me. And it's not, I said that 3-degree shift. There's a lot of templates that are being shifted and made new. They're being corrected, and they're being reactivated. And so in that, in those template shifts, you have the ability to reset through these breath, through the affirmations, through the intentions that you're setting for yourself. And that can be done really, really quickly. It's like a 10 full body breaths brings you back to a beautiful homeostasis where you're peaceful, you're calm, you're discerning what's coming in and out of your field. And if those things that are hard to resolve, Spirit says just give it a couple of days, because there is a lot of energy being moved about the planet to really pull those old timelines of control now that they've reached a certain level of consciousness in the field. Remember, we talked about the collective constructs within the reality, dimensional reality. When enough people within that creational reality construct have raised their consciousness and they've done enough purging, the level of that consciousness is raised to a little bit higher state, which means the light that they bathe, the codes that they bathe are a bit more unique and different, which is what we're going to talk about as well. And in that way, those energies that you thought might not be worked out, but because it's so karmic, when you just release it and let it go, and just really release it from your whole systems, physical, mental, emotional, etheric, spiritual, do it as a release, as a ceremony. Take your 10 deep breaths and say, I hand this now over to Spirit. I've done everything that I can do. I've realigned myself. It's not reasonable for me to fix on my own. I am not the only one in the equation. I release it to Spirit. This is my will. My will is this. You're stating your end of the equation, and it doesn't matter what they are doing. They don't have control over your end of the equation. Your story is your story. Your story is your consciousness, and release it all to Spirit. And then the energies of the divine order will work it out how it's meant to, because your higher selves sometimes have a contract to play out. The higher self and God will make sure that it is always in the highest and the best of the greater good. Not anybody overrides the greater good. The greater good is the greater good. God is. Thank you, Spirit. And so just know that those are universal standards that God overrides, because there's elegant plans, and all dimensions have dimensions within dimensions, dimensions within dimensions. That's the God within God, God within God. And there's so much elegance to it. And not any one 3D ego person has any power to overwrite anything of the such. So just have confidence in the universal ways of ascension and knowing ascension, knowing your ascension cycle. If you can't find a resolve to something, just surrender it to spirit, but state what your will of that equation is. No, those ties are severed. I want no further access, no further contact. It's over. Cycle close. You're stating your end of that bargain. And they can do whatever they think they're going to do and try whatever they're going to try, but they have no access because your free will is greater good. And why too? They're always showing me. You have to have those opposing wills to gain that confidence and mastery. You can't earn that over only one practice. That true self-confidence of where I'm at right now, there's a shift in my energy, and nobody's going to be before me that's going to play dickery. It just won't. Because their ancestors, my guides, my ancestors, they're not even letting them come near. There's no dicking around anymore. You don't have access. So anybody that wants to approach me knows that it has to be above board, benevolent, and it has to be in alignment of my new vibration. You won't be allowed access. You will not find me. And so that's just a given because you've practiced. That's my new vibration now. Level up or get out. Right. And that's where they said too about maintaining your price, if you will. Like you've had eons where you got paid nothing. You got paid nothing. People have used you and abused you. People have used you like a doormat. You know, they said to me this timeline. Many timelines I've been used like a doormat, and I've been used and abused, betrayed a million times over by the people that I've trusted most, that lied to my face over and over and over again. Wanted me to look like the crazy one. And they're the very ones that tell the greatest lies, greatest community deceivers. Been a doormat, you know, because I was a helper and a healer. And they took full advantage of it and then some. And so God says, yeah, no, don't let them come around until they got their money. They gotta pay to talk to you now. They don't have free access. They're not going to have free access to your door. They're going to be paying, and it will be reviewed by lawyers because they're not going to manipulate you, and they're not going to sway your energy, and they're not going to come in and play, you know, Mr. Charming to get their way. No, there is no access. Zero. Zero access means zero access. So go back to the drawing board and figure out what zero access means. But you have to build that confidence. So I'm showing women that you can say no. You don't have to go to cycles that are abusive. You don't have to go to cycles where you're continually taken advantage of. If they are in poverty, that's because their return is being returned. So they have to sit in poverty. What does poverty feel like? That's why you're meant to be in poverty. You have to know what it feels like on everything that you've taken from others. So when you sit in it, can you be okay with poverty? Can you be okay with what you did to others? Maybe that will allow everybody to wake up. Gee, wow, that wasn't nice sitting in that, where I'm worrying about my kids' food every day and I'm worrying about if my kids are going to have food tomorrow. You've got to wake up. You just can't keep abusing people and think people aren't going to say no. That's enough. Beat a lying dog while the dog's sitting there. No, enough. I'm not just going to allow people to abuse me and think that's okay. It's not okay, people. It's not okay. So stand up and say it's not okay. And have those sessions and those raw experiences. Well, no, this is what was done to me. That's my story. That's truth. And I had to rebuild myself in a multidimensional way. A great way to do that, and throughout your day, because this also attributes to, we're going to have another video on 5D beauty. Because I really 5D beauty. I bought a new lip gloss. This one called Laura Ashley. It's really pretty. It came in packs of 2, and they're a lot bigger this time. This one is like a little pearl. It's like a pink pearl. I like glosses. I have lipsticks too. If I have a lipstick, I always put gloss on over top because I like gloss. So it's really pretty, right? I got my gold. And so, oh yeah, 5D beauty. Because these breath and reclaiming your power techniques, they help in the reclaiming of your crystalline field. That's why it's really important that you, I'm going to do a really short video on tips for the next little while, because we're being bathed with accelerated, bigger, different light. Thank you, Spirit. Because we're getting bathed with different light, The codes and the light every new season are going to change. And again, what we said about, and I'll read you their channeling notes. I'm trying to get everything in. Read you their channeling notes. The codes are going to change because we're activating those. They called it isosceles triangle activation points. When you're activating your light body, your higher self, the higher mind, they're like the little isosceles triangle points that get activated, and it's like the gears, They turn and they activate. They turn and they activate. This is you with your soul pod. Remember we talked about in that 3-hour class, the soul pod? That's what's happening, and why sometimes that you'll always feel those threads of the heavy karmic energies and stories. They may always be with you, but they're going to continually level up as you level up. Sometimes you are that activating point for that soul pod, because you come with a family of soul energies, and you're there to collectively work out a story of abusing energy. So as you work on your core story with spirit, you're helping activate the points of their activations. That's why those that were in that experience are finding themselves awakening, because your higher selves are with in this conversation. They're finding themselves saying, well, maybe there is another way. I don't want to be a part of this experience anymore. I want to have a better way. I don't want to play in darkness anymore. So they're going through their own activation, but my story had to be activated first, because my story was connected to the soul pods. It doesn't mean I'm responsible for them. It means that there's story threadings from these other timelines, these other planets, that we've come together as a contract, a soul pod, and as I activate, so do they. That's why it's so important, as I said earlier, when you're sharing your story, you have no idea that you're activating one of the people in your soul pod. And do it in a peaceful and loving, and remember the those three new versions of a healer and a teacher. Always inspire, always encourage, and always empower. And that's how you can remember how you're moving about your world and discerning. Does this feel empowering? Does this feel inspiring? Does this feel encouraging? And if it's not, to reclaim your power of sovereignty, then you know to move on. Just navigate around it. So those are things to really keep in mind. And so the 3 tips to maintain and sustain the light that's coming in your field, and how light is changing in and about your field. So how you're activating those the little corners on the triangle, right? Because as your gears are moving and you're processing and you're maintaining that light through your breath, through your maintaining who you are in your story, maintaining your sovereignty with spirit, and then working on those excitements and those joys, and how do you want to express, explore, and experience yourself. So now you're really becoming masters, because we've talked about this for so long. Now it's becoming secondhand to you. You can really quickly align. What's my excitement? How do I want to express myself today? What do I want to experience today? That is feeling the consciousness of your soul. Those 3 E's are going to be so important, to feel the consciousness of your soul. And you're going to feel, it. You really will. It'll be something you'll feel. And that's what they want us to do. They want us to pay attention to how we're feeling, because we're going to be feeling spirit like we've never felt before. And it's so beautiful. Like the mother came into my thing today, and I was just saying, oh my gosh, Mother, I haven't felt my body like this in so long. I'm actually feeling my body. I'm actually feeling my chakras again, because as a conduit, you can feel those finite things. And for so very long, it was just so, I had shut a lot down, because it was just so traumatic to go to, there was a fear. It was like a trip gauge, a trip wire. You know, when you just shut things down because you don't want to open that door. You don't want to open that door because if you feel like you're going to open that door, even though you're safe, but the body and the multidimensional, it's like PTSD. When it's been damaged that much, that trauma, it shuts down, because it even though you know you're safe, you have your bodies and your fields and your cells have that remembrance. And so it just shuts down. But now I'm opening up, and I'm just allowing spirit to flow through me. And the mother is helping me regain my divine feminine balance in my body, to really feel the divine feminine again. It just felt so amazing. The mother was just like profoundly Gaia. It just felt Gaia energy, like I've never felt Gaia before. So it's going to be so exciting to work with Gaia again. And that's what I do with the 12th dimensional creators. They're the creators of this dimensional realm. And those 12th dimensional creators, I do a lot of work with the templates and the crystalline templates and things like that, and the accesses that we have as crystalline beings, crystalline And also the Arcturians. I work with the Arcturians a lot on grids. When we're in the astral realms and the galactic federations, we do a lot with grid work, with the matrices of the various dimensional timelines. And so I've got new guides now. So that's another thing where they said in these new energies, you're going to have like a changing of the guard with new guides, because that gear, that core DNA mission template gear was changed. And that just went and activates and starts turning the gear of everybody in your pod. So you'll be seeing, just give people time, give them time to wake up, give them time to move. It's not a race. It's not a competition, but they're going to have their own time that they're awakening. So just allow. And just, I said, when you see things that you don't think are healable or changeable, give it a couple of days, because we're moving through such different light that their bodies, and they're going to wake up and say, wow, I went through something last night. I have no idea what I went through, but that was pretty profound. They're going to see the awakening story and feel they're going to feel enough change and shift in their consciousness that they're going to want to start making things right. That's how you know they're going through awakening, those that have really caused you harm, because they do a purity of their heart. It's for God to know what the percentage is of that, because that's God and their alchemy and their karma. That's how you clear your karma, is between you and God. That's it. That's why any apology coming to me, I just surrender it to God, because God knows the percentage of the purity of intention. If it's an intention to have an agenda, if it's an intention to have motives, they're not even going to be allowed in the door, just because enough is enough. My God. If you don't have a pure intention, get out. You can't even come and talk to me. So there's rules, and there's set guidelines now. And that's what you can do, though. So, but it takes, getting through all of the minutia and knowing that I'm calling the shots now. It's my path. Get out of it. Stay in your own lane. So the 3 tips to maintaining and sustaining your light, again, is breath. So it's always on the inhale. And a full body breath, just so that you know, a full body breath is at least 5 full seconds. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. So take a deep breath in, and I'm going to count for you. Okay? So just sit straight in your chair. And usually it takes about 1 normal breath before you open to a full body breath, because you're just not used to doing full body breaths. Are you ready? So just feel yourself sweeping up any energies that want to come up through your chakras. I always sweep up, sweep up, sweep up. And this is your bodies. Your just intention to release any energies in your bodies and your fields that need to be released through your breath and intention. And you'll feel gassy. That means you're releasing density. You're releasing anything in your fields and in your bodies that don't belong to you, any parasites, any energies, any impalings, anything that's being sent to you, you just walked through. You're going to release it now with your breath. I intend to have all energies released that do not serve me, that are not in pure love and pure magnificence. I release them now, and take a full body breath. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. 5, 1,000, you should be at the top of the highest part of your matrix. You should be at the highest point. See yourself reaching up to your soul star chakra, and feel your soul star chakra bathing you. Call in the beautiful beings of the highest holy light, Mother Mary, and all of the beings that are bathing you in white light to clear and cleanse your fields. On your exhale, feel yourself now ground into the center of your earth star chakra. Ground your new light, and it should be another 5 full seconds on the exhale. 1, 1,000. 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, and you should feel that energy pulse down into the earth, very lovingly and very beautifully. And you say, hi, Gaia, hi, connection with Gaia. And you open up into that loving connection with Gaia. Because on your inhale, we're going to do another 5-second inhale. This breath will now be connected with Gaia, the grids with Gaia, the heart of Gaia, all of her nutrients that she bathes and nourishes you with. That's why the breath with Gaia is so important, a full body breath, called the infinity breath. And crisscross it at your heart. Reach up. 1, 1,000. 2, 1,000. And feel Gaia's nourishments reach up into your body, feeding your body. Again, you're being nourished by spirit. So there's no need to reach out. You're being nourished by Gaia. You're being nourished by spirit. Breath is the activator. Source is the activator. Source is your nourishment. Gaia is your nourishment. You're resetting your multidimensional fields. All you need is breath and intention. and ground back down to Gaia and ground. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, usually 3 full body breaths, and you'll have your complete activation from the highest soul star chakra through your heart chakra, through the Gaia, earth star chakra. 3 full body breaths. Intending light. Feel your field bathed. Visualize white light bathing. Visualize beautiful violet flame bathing you, bathing and cleansing and bathing and cleansing, and just sweep up, releasing any stuck energies. Continually the bathing of white light, and have any of the beautiful teams working with you clear and cleanse your fields physically, mentally, emotionally, and etherically. Bathe and cleanse, bathe and cleanse, bathe and cleanse. Feel white light, feel white light, feel white light. Now your multidimensional bodies are harmonized as one. And those of you that are conduits and are really tapped in, you can start to feel the chakras spinning in unison right now. And you just by command, I lovingly ask my chakras to open and spiral. And you can feel your chakras. You practice and tune in. You can feel your chakras. And it's okay if you don't, there's no judgment. But you can feel your chakras. What we're talking about is very real. This is alchemy. This is using your multidimensional bodies and sensings, being the commandmentship of your field in your own body, in your own fields. You're working with source. Your source. You are source. You can feel your multidimensional bodies working because you can feel the spinning. You can feel the toroidal field. Love is everything. Love is everything. Love is everything. And give yourself beautiful affirmations. I love myself. My bodies and my fields are love. My bodies and my fields are profound. My bodies and my fields are pure, cleansed, and clear. Pure, cleansed, and clear. My physical, mental, emotional bodies, my higher self is one. My physical, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies are one. I am one with my higher self. I am one with my soul. Now, this is the third tip. Call in all of your soul fragments, all of your light, all of your energy, and anything that you've given out, or anybody that's playing with your field. You're going to call all of those threads and all of those cords back, all energy that belongs to you. I'm calling all energies, all fragments, all aspects of myself to return to me now. Now, now. Anywhere in the universe, now, now, now. We come to my space now, now, now. To your consciousness, to your fields, to your heart, to your mind, and to your soul and your spirit. It belongs to you. Everything in your name belongs to you. Your consciousness with God belongs to you. Reclaim it now. I reclaim my light. I reclaim my consciousness. And say it 3 times. I reclaim my light. I reclaim my consciousness. I reclaim my light. I reclaim my consciousness. I reclaim my light. I reclaim my consciousness. Another full body breath. And feel that light just wash down you and anchor into Gaia. And you feel so much more activated because you've recalled all of those energies that you feel people pulling and poking and pulling on. Now you're going to reclaim all that light, and your teams are going to sever any cords and any ties that don't need to be there because they're just feeding and siphoning off of you that they don't have to. They've got to start to learn how to do it from within. And I've just showed you how to do that. Honor and nourish yourself with your light. When you're reconnecting who you are with spirit, you don't need anything outside of you. You don't need to focus on anybody outside of you. You don't need to do that, the things that we've talked about that we're not going to talk about anymore, because those are the old opposing ways. So we're going to talk about the new ways. Well, I'm going to reclaim all of my light now. I'm going to start nourishing myself with my spirit, because that's what spirit gave you a spirit for. Everything is spirit first. You manifest everything in matter by what your spirit is. So if your matter isn't that nice, that's what you have. That's how you know where your vibration's at. So that, again, your life is your own proof. So too is your health. Your health is your own proof, and you can start working with that divine, beautiful new codes, right? New codes. We've got new energy, new light now. So you really want to start working with that full body breath. And I do that again, your intention first. My intention is to feed and nourish my body. So before you do your breath, what is your intention? I just want to align with source. I want to feel you, source. I just want to feel you, source, and have it from that heart space. My intention is so very powerful. It shifts every particle within my bodies and my fields and the earth. My intention is connect with Gaia, my loving ancestors. I love you, ancestors. I love you, ancestors. I love you, ancestors, and send your ancestors loving light. My intention is to realign my heart, mind, body, and soul. I am one. My heart, mind, body, and soul. I am one. My heart, mind, body, and soul, I am one. And deep breath. My intention is to bring greater youth and beauty to all that I am. I bring great beauty and youth to all that I am. My cells are younger, my mind is quick, and I am beautiful and healthy, and breathe. And you reclaim all that power of who you are, that consciousness of who you are, and you're reclaiming all that you are. You are the only one in charge of your consciousness and your path and your mission and your destiny. You and God, you and Spirit. And Spirit loves to see that within us. They're ready for us to say, yes, I've reclaimed my power. I've reclaimed all of my light. I've been practicing this for eons. Let's go, Spirit. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And that's when those fields open up to you. Spirit's waiting for you to claim who you are, because that's your intentional creational reality. It's your reality. You get to claim that. You've earned it. Spirit says, measure up and I'll measure with you. That's getting in the elevator and push that button. So those are really good, quick, and easy things. Always begin with intention to feel yourself as joy, the consciousness of who you are. Intend to feel your consciousness. Intend to have greater discernment. Intend to know where and when and how you're putting your energy. Have the intention that you're going to start optimizing and really creating great maximum potential out of your gifts and skills. You're meant to. God wants you to be fully abundant in every way, off all of the ways that you're able to. You've earned the gifts that are in your Akash. You've earned the gifts that will be activated as you work on your bodies, your fields, and your alignments. That's going to open up really, really quick. Okay, so part of the channeling was the big changes that are coming for April. A lot of it will be felt within the creative matrix, which is the crystalline matrix. Again, while you're working with your bodies, reclaiming all that you are will be really important, because then you'll be able to feel into your consciousness. You'll be able to feel the consciousness of Gaia. You'll be able to feel the connection with the beautiful, thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. The beautiful 12th dimensional creator. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I'm so grateful. And it allows you to be more sustainable, because I asked them, I said, well, what makes the light that we're being bathed with, how can I offer alternatives for those that are just starting out their path? And they said, what will make it harder or not harder is if how adaptable and capable you are at accepting change. And that, again, that is the opposing will of freedom and liberation or control. So those that are in the control matrix and limited matrix, they're going to have a harder and harder time with the light, and with the light that's being bathed is going to be a bumpy ride, because they're still focusing on the fight or flight, the two lower chakras, and it's all about control. And that's where it implodes upon each other and they infight. That's just how those energies work, because they're not embracing change in the flow. The more that you're open to flow, the more you're embracing change, the more excited you are about change. You're just keeping up with the light. So you're allowing your body to manifest and change and transition really quickly. So while these shifts will continue, your breath work will be important, your prayer work, and your prayer work is really your connection with your teams in the earth. So that's, again, feeling your consciousness is through prayer work. Hi, Gaia, how are you today? Start talking with Gaia, start connecting with Gaia, go sit in a field and start connecting with her, feeling the consciousness of Gaia, because you can really feel the consciousness of Gaia and get the downloads from Gaia. And start, they suggested to play with your consciousness, really start tracking and cataloging your ascension, because it's going to be really fun for you, because you're going to be, again, when you're journaling it and you're cataloging it, you're like, wow, I can't believe this. And you can leave those as legacies for your family, right? Because there's going to be others coming from behind you. So the cataloging will be great work. That'll be your access to play, and you'll be really seeing things. You'll be proving to yourself, wow, this is really cool. You don't need to focus on anybody else, because you're manifesting that connection with spirit yourself. And that's a lot what prayer work is and journaling is. You're having that conscious connection with how you're expanding and contracting with the ever-changing energies. Thank you, Spirit. So grounding, and really creating a self-care program for yourself, because that gives you, so what they said too is that we're going to be finding more and more that we're going to be slowing down and creating purposeful action. Purposeful action is centering and grounding, so that you're not flying off the handle, and you're using your emotional body, mastering your emotional body, so that you're in that mastery, that centered heart space, so that you can act and behave from that centered heart space, stating what your will is, stating what your part of the equation is, and having as often that intention for a win-win, where all can be served, because that's creation, all can be served. There's always a balance, always. And that's why understanding universal laws is going to be so key. Why you discerning your body, how much you give out, in what way you give out, and to whom you give out, will help you maintain that balance, that homeostasis for yourself. And again, it's all about balance. So we're going to be really focusing on balance over the next little while, because we are going to be getting new and different codes of light in our bodies and our fields. And when we play with it and we're opening up and we're really getting excited about it, we'll be seeing how different these light codes are. They will be a sustainable lift in the energy of the collective. And as your entire collective will feel it, simply because you have brought yourselves up in a state of consciousness level, again, who are you? Understanding that there's more within and there's more without, and it's all a correlation. That's awakening. Well, who are you? What do you exist within? What exists within you? Because the collective as a whole is starting to connect this and awaken to this, that means that it gives source, spirit, the creators of the matrices and the elegant divine programs, new ways that they can offer us light. And the beings that work with the 12th dimensional creators through the divine plan of God, the Metatronic light programs, evolutionary light programs, we are all activating, remember, those gears. So as we're activating those gears to the soul pods, those soul pods are activating, again, the pearl threaded. So that each and every one of your activations, you're waking up new, you're wanting to get excited about working on your path, you're wanting to get excited about who you're connecting with, you want to get excited about how to alchemize your wounding, you're wanting to share your experiences because that's helping others activate their soul pods and activate those densities. And again, it's a big, huge collective experience. And so they said, the new light codes will allow you to feel more than ever before a lighter experience of who you are. The lighter experience of who you are, when you're releasing everything really quickly. You're not spending any time at all on drama or chaos. And you're, again, discernment. Discernment will get quicker and quicker because you're learning how to realign and align yourself quicker and quicker. So those tips will really, really help. Because the light will feel different, right? The codes are going to get different. We are never given the same codes every month. What do we call month? Because we're now collapsing time. And that's how you'll know. You'll feel the consciousness difference because you're going to be in no time. So the grounding, what else did they say? Thank you, Holy Spirit. And this is in of itself really, truly self-loving. Because again, you're wanting to know and make sense of yourself within the greater reality. And that shows yourself that you're a self-loving being because you want to be connected with your ascension plan. You want to have some journaling. You want to do some cataloging. That's self-loving in and of itself, and why we offer these tools. When you use the tools, that's self-loving. When you reach out and send an email, that's self-loving because you're showing that you care enough to reach out. You care enough to move those energies. You care enough to have a conversation. You care enough to make those energies for the whole collective better. You don't even know you're doing it, but that's why they wanted me to share that with you. Those of you that did reach out, you're helping the whole collective because it's never been done before. Women have never spoken their truth, right? So it's important that we speak our truth and hold our own light. You're so very powerful, people. We've said this right from the beginning, right from the get-go. You have no idea how profound you are as divine light and divine beings of sacredness. We've all had these beliefs and these experiences and abuses and upbringings, but there's absolutely no need to continue it. There isn't. There's so much information and wisdom and resources. There's no need to continue the harm and the cycles of harm. There just isn't. There's so much in simple techniques that we've just shown you, and so many more, that you can truly begin to change your reality and your health. And everyone has access to God. Everyone. And it has nothing to do with religion. It's the essence of all that life is. It's the elixir. It's the emulsifier. It's that substance that keeps everything connected. That's God. And when you use that God energy, you're healing. You're clearing density. You're clearing what you thought wasn't worthy. You're worthy. You're worthy to feel yourself as love. You're worthy to feel your third eye pure and clarified. You're worthy to claim all of your chakras so that nobody can touch it or damage it. And release those is another self-loving act that do. Anybody that does spell work on you and says they don't, release them. They're not worthy to be in your field. Why would you be with anybody that does spell work? Because you're showing them that you're okay with them having control over any part of you. And don't give them that. Choose to change that story. No, I'm going to use the energies of the earth. I'm going to follow the universal laws. Everything is purposeful. But now they're saying when you're acting in purposeful intention, purposeful action, you're going to find yourself slowing down because all that stuff that took up your time and your worry, you're going to let it go and God's going to deal with it. It's going to be shifted off to other people that want to play in those energies. That's why, again, we're going to see the opposing wills and they're going to get farther and farther apart. Because you're going to God's going to start rerouting you and redirecting you with those that are in a more harmonizing energy, because you want to play with people that are in that alignment of service, right? It doesn't mean that it's not going to go away. You'll always have those opposing dichotomies and polarities because that's creation, but it's not going to be the same toxic stories that are harmful, because light workers have had enough. Again, there's been enough time. So yes, they said cataloging your stages and phases would be of great advantage, they said, and slowing down and creating purposeful creation and purposeful action. So again, do I really want to do that today? Because I know many of us, do you really need to pack in what you thought you needed to pack in? You can slow down. And so I see the next 3 months slowing down so that you can take more time to be conscious, aware, centered, and feeling your consciousness come to life in new ways. And that's going to allow you to be more discerning. Wow, this really feels good. I can't wait to talk to the creators. The creators' vibration is different than the angelics. The creator's vibration is different than the archangel collective. The creator's vibration is different than the Pleiadians and the Andromedans. So feel into it, start playing with that consciousness, start playing with the fairies and the gnomes. My beautiful friends, the gnomes, they have a completely different vibration. I had my little gnome friend that was visiting me the other day. And I knew, wow, you're back, because their energy is just so different. And so get to know that. Say what the insectoids are here right now. Thank you. They're my beautiful insectoid families, because many of you are also working with the insectoids on many of the grid changes that are coming up. And so you're working with many of the insectoids. They're very, very beautiful beings. And many of the other beings that work with us to help our planet. So we're so grateful. And the pulse will be found more than ever as you work with Gaia. Remember to, as we're given new codes and more energies in different ways, again, play, because you're going to get it from Gaia. You're going to get it from the waters. You're going to get it from those that you're do. Spirit will just put somebody in front of you because you'll need that activation in them. You just like we talked about in our video the other day, that there's going to be beings coming and going and veiling themselves in human bodies, but they're actually your celestial friends to help give you those activations now. And that will help us prepare for also first contact as well, because we're going to be feeling those changes and energy shifts. It will help transition your body. Again, the capability that you have to get excited and embrace change. So that's going to be really important. Again, discerning. I'm feeling like I really want to embrace change. And if you don't feel like you're embracing change, you have a bit of those fears, then call those fears up. Did I feel triggered? Why was that a fear for me? I didn't want to go to that store because it was new. Was that a fear for me? Okay, let's clear that up. Because those are just natural energies too. If you're an empath, and many of you watching, you also feel those fears of, again, those people in your pods. And so clear all those energies out and know what's yours. That's a part of that discernment. Are these energies mine, or am I feeling that because I just came back from dinner, from our family dinner? And you're carrying those energies in your field, so you can just transmute those and let those go. And again, if you're an empath and a healer, clearing your field at least twice a day, and getting your children used to clearing their fields and how to clear their fields. Dipping into the ocean, grounding into the earth, getting them used to clearing their fields and reclaiming their consciousness, their voice, and their choice, so that they do not ever fall into vulnerable situations where they're the ones that they're meant to trust, or even making choices about drugs and stealing and those things. The more aware you are and creating a very beautiful, powerful sense of self, they would never choose those things because they love themselves. And so again, it's empowering, inspiring, and encouraging reconnection of self and spirit. And then a lot of the corruptions and the crimes, it's very, very simple, but we've just been taught for so long, and a lot of people are still living in the lower two chakras, because there's a lot of healing that still needs to be done and sorting out, who am I? That's the sense of self. And once that's activated and that self-care plan is done, there's nothing that's stopping. You can just manifest beautiful things, and no, too, Spirit wants you to slow down and make sure you're navigating in a very purposeful way. As we said again, it's not a competition. And if it is, there's a lot of wounds there about lack of self and fight or flight and resources and lack. So if you're in any mode of competition, then those are the wounds that you need to look at, because that is not ascension. Ascension is about a sacred journey, and you want to slow down. No two people are going to be the same because your akashas are different. So Again, sharing your stories from your unique vantage points. And when you're slowing down to see and feel your new perspective from Gaia, see if you're sitting outside with Gaia and you slow down and be discerning about your new perspective with Gaia, it's going to be so rich and full. Because again, your bodies have just been triggered, activated, right? This core point right here, let's say, because they showed me an isosceles triangle, that isosceles got triggered. This whole line of your light and how you're fed light and breath. So you can do a lot of beautiful visualizations and breath work to really feel your fields and conduits as we do. And they're activating those. It's really beautiful. It's infinite. It's so infinite how we can work with our bodies and how we can work with our beautiful fields. It's so infinite. That's where I get so connected. Your connections and how you work with your consciousness is going to be enhancing and expanding. So how you're connecting with the floral and the fauna, how you're connecting with the oceans, how you're connecting with trees and forests. That's why you're going to want to slow down. Take your time. Be mindful and purposeful. Mastering your emotional body so that there is no need to have harm to anybody else, especially your own multidimensional systems, because it's very taxing on the endocrine system. When you're in a high stressful environment and there's a lot of drama and chaos and they're feeding from the lower two chakras and there's entity attachment, parasitic attachment, all those things, it's a very harmful environment because control is the worst vibration on our planet. It just shuts all of the cells down and the bodies down from receiving light. And that's why most people feel very confused. And again, that's where the infighting starts. They're collective patterns that occur because it's just a psychology of fear and control. So those psychology experiences and patterns can be broken and working with light. Again, your alliance with light. That's the title of my 4th book. And so what else did they say? They said the multitudes and the layers of different various light systems and the light rotating isosceles triangles. That's a mouthful. That's how you know it's not from me. The life like rotating oscilles triangle and all affecting the all. So again, that's when your point gets activated and then it to the others in your soul pod. That's what they called it. And we talked about it in our 3-hour class that we did. So those of you that do have that video, you can go back and listen to that. You're going to feel again the correlation of those connections and your mindfulness, your connectedness, your connections of your consciousness. And you're going to see all of these things like, wow, you're going to actually see everything that we're talking about. I'm so excited for you because I feel so many of you becoming so much more awake in your bodies and your consciousness. So I'm feeling your excitement, and your higher selves are so excited for you. There's one of you in particular they're very excited about because you've done such hard work. And I'm so very excited for you, and I feel like crying because I love you so much. Your higher self is showing me how proud they are of you. So I'm so very excited for you. And she knows who she is. You're very beautiful. So embrace change. So again, when you're embracing change, you're allowing yourself to release what no longer serves. You're allowing yourself to work on greater self-love, self-reliance. And if you do have anything that comes up that's a fear thing, then reflect and observe how you're feeling about detachment. Because it's always about the opposite of, again, the infinity, right? The infinity. So attachment is the 3D, detachment is 5D. And you have got to go to your center. Okay, what did I feel about the releasing a family member? What did you feel about the releasement of a food? What about the releasement of cigarettes? So all of those are attachments and they weigh you down. And just know that everybody is free and all liberated. And that's why the free will is so important, because you're meant to connect with what you're meant to connect with. When you're meant to connect, it affects the life and the earth that you're living, the timeline that you're living on earth. And those will be leaving in the ways that they choose with God. When those in your family or in your life leave, it might seem or appear like they're leaving. They're just having another alternate earth experience that they get to continue playing out their stories. But to you in your higher consciousness, it's shown you, and you've agreed at that higher level that they're leaving in whatever way, whether it be an earthquake or a heart attack, or going to sleep at night and not waking up. They choose with God at their highest soul level. It's all, again, it's a very elegant design. And I'm going to do a video about death and our whole perspective about death. And we're going to call in the highest creators in God, the Mother, Father, God, to review, release fears, release attachments, release energies, because it's also connected with other timelines where you did have, you know, cataclysmic experiences. So it's very natural to have certain beliefs about and attachments about death. And so we're going to have a class about that. Anybody that's interested, just email me. The links will be below. And so that's why you have these opposing energies going off to play in their own unique earths. So when somebody leaves us, they're really not. They're just going to play out other energies. And in your energy field, they become a spirit. But to them, they've just moved off into another body, having a continued experience that they need to have to play out those very, very, very important soul experiences. You can never get to an accelerated or a lightened space of consciousness in your soul without going through all of the dark shadow aspects you need to go through. Because again, we are a multiverse harmonizing. So there's no judgment on any of it. So very, very purposeful. But also God doesn't want anybody other's path to be harmed and held back and compromised. It's a very divine plan. That's why you just know. I get so excited and there's just so much elegance to it. We never, ever have to play controller or ego or driver. There's so much beautiful elegance in everything that comes and goes in our life. And it's up to nobody to say right or wrong or judge it at any point. It's very purposeful. I was getting frustrated and annoyed because it was just unnecessary and damaging. And I felt all of it. You know, I felt all of it. There wasn't a day where I didn't feel all of it, you know, and my guides and I had to work really hard to repair. And again, working on really embracing change. I love change. I love change. So do your affirmations. I'm looking forward to great change today. I'm going to feel into how my body is changing, how my thoughts are changing. We wanted to talk about that because that was a big part. In our 3-hour video, we talked about the prefrontal cortex. We're going to level up now because what they showed me. Okay, so the last thing there, let me get my sheets. My sheets. Da-da-da. So I need music. I'm gonna have a little controller. Used to have in the back in the banking days. Okay, here we go. This is what they gave me in the dentist chair a really long time ago. This is the multiverse, we call it the triad universe. So this is a multiverse ascension. So as this universe is letting go of their threads, they're putting in the highest content. Of course, again, the essence of God is between all things. It's not like that energy band comes here. God's work in every second and inch of an ounce of it, whatever we can call the micro nano of space and time and energy, because we just don't. There's different words. We're giving you the words that we have in this experience because that's just how we understand things, but they're not that thing. Spirit is all energies and experiences in between. So this is our, say, one moment of ascension right now in this period of ascension. Those energies come mixing here because we're moving through. This is where you just can't understand. It's so intricate. Ascension is. What our collective is going through is the opposing wills of seeing what control is and what liberation is, where people are reclaiming their voices, people are reclaiming their energies, people are reclaiming their choices, and the empowerment of their bodies, their minds, their heart, and their soul. That's consciousness. They're reclaiming their energies so that their energies cannot be thwarted in the controlling programs that we helped manifest, right? And so as those programs are now falling off, those that want to continue those programs because they still have a lot of lessons to learn, they're going to go to another earth experience. But these templates, they called it the multi-layered systems of light, life, like isosceles triangles, are in this one band. Remember that bandwidth of thread widths of light? And the beings in that collective consciousness. So we are going to be moving, we're going to be connecting, we're going to be gathering, and spirit will help you create those synchronistic experiences where you're connecting with those where you can continue inspired and intelligent connections to keep that collective consciousness heightened experience at an optimal. And why those of us that are ready to get out and be with the collective, we're going to get out and be with the collective because we're meant to activate and inspire higher intelligence. higher motivating programs, higher healing programs, and so on. And as we do so, that higher vibrational light and those matrices that are now being opened, those multifaceted layers, they bathe, and automatically everything that is corrupt and not in that vibration of light will just come to the surface. It's just a natural process. As the light bathes, what is not light is brought up. And so all of this is just what we're going through right now as the collective. The collective's now owning and becoming more awake of the control of who they are, their own unique mastery, their own commandmentship, which then releases the control programs, which are all false and illusory. And that's the breaking up. And that's when the infighting and all of those things occur, because there's nowhere else for it to go. So they're just a natural progression of darkness and light. And we're working the energies, right? Again, it's no judgment. It's just that's the process of ascension at a collective level. And so those multidimensional faceted systems, they're like the these, I don't know if you can see that, these templates, the multifaceted templates, they come in and they're doing the rotation from that universe to this universe that gets bathed with new codes, and these rotating acts, fields and templates. That's just what I see. And these matricy templates send and give new vibratory codes that are different. And remember, they said every season it's going to get different. And those seasonary codes will be different in the way that it will activate the multidimensional bodies. Activating the multidimensional bodies can be either or and all inclusive. The DNA first through the atom-eventine particles and within the chakra systems, because that light gets activated from the very base of the spine and it moves up the spine because it's working from the lower to the higher. And then you, as the commandmentship of you, are also working with your multidimensional bodies in gathering your own light, in gathering your soul fragments, so that you're not all fragmented and all out there. And that's when you feel and you have those beings before you that are very scattered. And there's mental illness issues, the mental imbalances issues, because they're not working their multidimensional bodies. They're not being coached or trained. And that's where all of us as healers can be empowering, encouraging, and inspiring to assist people moving through these accelerated patterns. Again, crime and violence and all of those things are unnecessary. It's just a matter of coaching and honoring and figuring out what's going on. Who am I? What's going on within me? And what do I exist within? You are a multidimensional being. You are being activated multidimensionally. Part of those activations multidimensionally will be the prefrontal cortex. I might have to do a different class on that because it's very in-depth. The personality of yourself is becoming the personality of the soul. Now, this is something that I've recently just tapped into. I have learning on this because I can see it in my Akash. These are things that I'm taught in the higher realms, and I'm going to have to do a personal class on this for those of you that are advanced, that have been working with me for quite some time. And if you're excited about it, then just connect with me. They're calling it the multifaceted soul consciousness. And that will encompass many parts that are beyond even your imagining of your perspective of the soul pods, the interactivity within the soul pods, your collective abilities to intuit collective energies. And working within that, again, as I said, the soul itself. It's really, really fascinating. They showed me a little glimpse of it, just like, what? And it was like, wow. Like when they give me these really sometimes when they're giving these really vast things, again, we don't have words for some of these things because they're just not, we've never been taught these things. They're not invented yet because our consciousness is never that high. So our whole science program will be rewritten. Everything will be rewritten because, again, it was from a 3D perspective, a dense perspective, because we're being upgraded every day. So the multifaceted soul perspective will absolutely affect your personality, and why to not be alarmed. Those of you that are advanced, you're working with your field, you are grounding, and you know when you feel scattered and when you don't feel scattered. When you're feeling scattered, if you're an empath and a conduit, you know to make sure that you are, as they said earlier, discerning, slowing down, taking greater rest time, calling in your breath, and grounding. The grounding is really important because that allows you to reclaim all of those scattered aspects and then come back to center. Those of you that are teachers and leaders, I'm going to leave healers out for the second. The multifaceted soul perspective will allow you to understand kind of like archetypes, social patterning, epidemiology, things that move in the collective vibration. That's why I've been so tapped into all of the control energies and the stories and the themes and the galaxies and the planets that it's coming from. So that's why I had to go that route, because it is the thing that makes up 3D reality, is fear and control, liberation and freedom. So that's the equal opposing energies. They are directly related to, again, everything's correlated. Again, so this is so wonderful. Everything's correlated to the Adam Eventine project, Adam Eve project. It goes to the very core of who we are as male and female and how we're working on those energies. What perspectives, what definitions, what roles have we given? How are we in every moment, as we talked about, as we're bringing up into reminders? You see how fast your consciousnesses are moving? You're now catching on to the speed that we're moving. Now you're seeing the correlation of how divine feminine in every way that we're offering ourselves in beautiful, multidimensional, faceted ways. We're now offering ourselves to women in different ways that we can become more intelligent. Not that we haven't been, but we're now becoming the leaders in the communities to higher vibrational intelligent programs, because we're creating it. It's just, as I said, I'm a self-leader, I'm a self-master. Nobody has done this with me. I'm self-made. And that makes me feel, we're gonna spend some time reflecting on that with the mother, because it's just like profound. You know, I'm now feeling myself again. I'm feeling me, Joanna. I get to feel me again without all of the interference and without all of the impellations. And that's really, really important. So I'm going to be doing some really profound healing classes for women. And we're going to work on, healing a lot of the traumas, sexual traumas, because they go back. I'm probably going to do that really quickly to help the collective out too, to help out with a collective clearing. So we're going to do some really great techniques. Mother Mary will walk us through those clearings. I get goosebumps everywhere. I'm so excited. And Gaia is going to be leveling us with our ancestors. So we're probably going to get a whole bunch. I can just feel it right now. So maybe I'll do up a commentary about this class that's coming up. I would love to do it. And I'll send you all emails for those of you that are excited. I've got goosebumps, and it will include, of course, our beautiful ancestors, and they'll all help us start harmonizing these beautiful divine feminine, really this beautiful wave of divine feminine, loving energy that's going to help activate the highest vibrational. They're just showing me interlocking systems of the light body and the higher mind. That's what they showed me. A lot of these matrices are directly aligned to the higher mind, and how the higher mind is connected in these gears in through the higher mind. And as the higher mind is now activated, they're activating the higher mind through the higher mind acts through your whole multidimensional body systems. Your higher mind is not separate from your mind. It is the multidimensional systems in and of itself. They showed me it's like a crystalline veil, and it gets activated. So that crystalline veil activates other points on your crystalline experience, multidimensional, because it's Metatronic, right? And so it will activate everything, because that's light language too. Light language is going to be important too. Light language bypasses mental programming, lower mental programming. Light language just goes to the core of who you are as spirit, as light. And that's why I've been offering those light codes. Bring my little book. There's my little art book. I'm here, art book. I'm here. There it is. Art book, where are you? Oh my gosh, art book. That's what I did yesterday. And so yeah, play, light language, play, everybody play. You gotta play. That's the mother, get outside and play. Oh yes, you're gonna have a changing of guides, because they're gonna want to change the changing of the guard, right? Because they're going to be tapping into higher vibrational fields and templates, as my guides are just joking in the background. They need a rest. They're the best guides. They rock. We've had some really good conversations lately. I'm so sorry. In spirit, I hold a lot of parties for them because I'm so sorry. Some of my transgressions, they know. So funny. I'm so sorry for my transgressions, spirit guides. I don't understand. Without. I'm like, oh, Joanna. Yes, it's a pattern. It's okay. Okay, here she goes. She's going to transgress. that's like opening the door to change. Yes, I'm embracing change. Open the door. Oh, too funny. So my God, they're just saying, they're joking with me right now. They're saying I see them walking out of their light ship to go to another light ship. You know, these big circular rooms, and they're getting away from their post. My guides are so silly. They're abandoning post. Ah, too funny. My God, I have the most amazing guides. My God, they took me through the last 8 years. Did I have the same guides for the last 8 years, Spirit? No. There was a they're saying that there have been a few changes. They had to change. Okay, quick change. Who wants to be your guide now? Oh, they're slow. Oh, I don't want to be your guide. Too funny. They're saying no. They're saying no. They jumped at the opportunity. Oh, my guides are so funny. They're saying, "Oh, we love you, Joanna. I love you too. My guides are so amazing. I'm so sorry. Really, I totally am. My guides need a trophy." I hope God is giving them just as many blessings as whatever I get, Spirit. Is God going to give you guys blessings? They're already working on it. Oh, they're so sweet. They're saying that they're oh, I'm going to cry. They're saying that their gifts are us moving through self-love. Aw, I have the most amazing guides. They're saying that's why we do this for free. They're saying we don't have monetary systems up here. Oh, they're saying that they love you at the elemental level. So now they're connecting my higher selves with your higher selves. And guys, we love you so much. We know that each of you have been through so much. And we just want you to know that we do what we do because we love you so unconditionally. And it's okay that you fall down every once in a while. And it's okay that you get back up and just keep remembering to love. I do love you all. You're so very important. I'm just shuffling some cards right now. They were all upside down. I like my cards to feel the same. I was just having a little conversation with my guides and sharing those conversations with you. Intimate lightship conversations. The activations of who you are is in every moment that we connect. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And I love you. Just give my guides a really big party. Whatever you do to have fun up there. Guess what they said? They said, we watch you. You're quite funny sometimes. You don't need to get all up in get your panties in a knot the way that you do. If I had have known, seriously, if I had have known my experience over the past 8 years, my God, I would have not been out the fucking back door. Where's the fucking back door? Get me out of here. That's why they only give me like an ounce at a time. My guides totally breadcrumb me. Totally. They're just saying they would never. Guys is so funny. They would never give me the whole loaf. Oh, too funny. My guides rock. Silly guides. We know you too well, Joanna. We have to give you Justin. I know that they play, and they play with me too. They totally do. I had a conversation with them the other night. I'm just like, what the hell? Why couldn't you have just told me? Why all the secrecy? Why all the little bits and pieces and like 20, 80% of it's left out and I get like 12%. I get 12% of the game and you guys all know everything up there. I get really frustrated to have these conversations. They don't say anything. They just sit and let me talk. They just let me rant. So funny. Oh, do you guys actually? I'm talking to my guides. Do you guys? This is what I do when I talk with them. This is where when people see me, if I'm in my car or I'm at a coffee shop. No, I'm not really crazy. I'm just talking with my guides. Oh yeah, the 12th dimensional creators too. Oh yeah, Archangel Michael too. What was I going to ask them? do they do they want us to ask you any questions? Does anybody want to ask any questions? Oh yeah, you're not live. Sorry, you're not live. But if you ask a question down below, I'll put it whatever they say. If you ask your question now, maybe you have a question from your guides. What were you going to say? Oh yeah. No, this must be one of your guides because it doesn't sound like my guides. One of your guides says it's like Sesame Street. We're teaching you all the alphabets of universal laws and how to get along, seeing your opposing self and the harmonized self. So just know there's always going to be that opposing experience, and it can be very elegant, right? It can be elegant. They're just mirrors of yourself that want to keep from not changing and from having that smooth transition to change. So embrace all change. So Sesame Street is like walking you through the steps of how to be a new person, how to integrate yourself into the world. That's the show Sesame Street, they're saying. So Sesame Street might have been important for one of you, and how that walked you through life on how to be prepared to be in the playground, right? How do you walk in the playground? And nobody's teaching us these things. So this is the spiritual, Sesame Street. Because you have to understand your multidimensional bodies, how to use your multidimensional bodies, how to honor your multidimensional bodies, how to keep up with the capacity of light, how to maintain and sustain the capacities of light, embracing change. And they're just new ways you keep in touch. And now you're learning the Sesame Street of light, right? Because it's the rules are different. What we were taught is not necessarily accurate. We're not the environments. We are the light within it. We get to create every single part of it, right? Right? Ooh, the wabbit, the wabbit, the whoa, you do wabbit. And the wabbit to me, the wabbit to me is about abundance. The wabbit. I'm gonna pull one of my other favorite cards. Because these are my all-time favorite. I use them every time, every day. I use them. So let's do some singing. Oh yeah, when you're calling in your field and you're doing those tips, add tones and clapping and clicks, because that helps just break up energy in your field. So clapping and ticks and singing really help break up and sound. So if you have crystal bowls and you want to do sound. Oh, anybody wants a private reading from me? My links are below. 200 for 90 minutes, right? 200. And I think it's 500 now because the sale is over. 500 for vocational 4 sessions. Ooh, shouldn't have said 5. 4 sessions. Sessions are 4 sessions. 4 sessions. Okay, what card are we going to call today? Is there anything that the guides want to say while I'm signing off? Calling in the beings of the highest holy light. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Councils of light, the galactic federations. Hello, Ashtar. Hello, Ashtar. How are you? Oh, so Commander Ashtar is just saying that the various sectors of galaxies and the sectors of light are changing as we are raising our vibration on the planet Earth and as we live in our light. So we're so grateful to see you in this way, and knowing that the very fabric of the threadings of our space and the sectors of our space, we're seeing great changes, just like the beautiful waves of so they're just showing me the waves of how sound moves, songs, sounds, and hearts, harmonics, notes. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Sectors of space are changing quite dramatically based on the consciousness levels and these very accelerated experiences that we have with light. It is like for us, beautiful riding on what you've called your roller coasters, for our experiences of these excavations through the densities that you have released. And we're so very proud that you release densities when and how you can, dear lighted one. They affect everyone. You are known by your light. Many schools and trains of thought will be changing and altering, and we will be a part of those downloads, new prosperities of who you are within the mind and the grander mind of all that is. The Creator would love for you to be a part of those excavations into the allness of your mind. So they're now showing me the they're showing me, there's the picture. They're showing me this, the mind, the sacred geometry of the mind in the all space. And so that's what we have. We can go micro and macro. That's what they're showing me. So the mind of the all space changes. Thank you, Holy Spirit and Ashtar Commander. Again, so the diving for light is when you're resetting your fields and commanding your fields and commanding the liberation of your fields, and knowing that there's always going to be a polarity. There's always going to be that juxtaposition of dichotomy, and everybody has it. You know, it's micro, macro. Every single person has polarity. Every single person has the opposing wills, because you're releasing your old self and you're rebirthing your new self. And that is what is called the sacred fool, because you're no longer going to be manipulated and played by, you know, like a puppet. You're letting that go. You're choosing to be fully led and be very beautiful in your own skin and making your own rules and making your own story. And you have that. I suggest when you're making your catalog of your own ascension, start marking down when you're having your release times. And when you're having those releases, have those active conversations with your teams and your guides and the karma board. You know, the karma board will come in. They don't need to come in every session, because your guides are communicating with the karma board. Your guides are on top of every aspect of karma and story that you want to clear for yourself. It's not a punishment or an engagement of anything like that. It's because you want to transcend those stories of limitation. That's why you want to know yourself in further expansive fluidic light. You know, it's not like a punishment thing or anything. It's just that you need to know the opposing side. You need to know the opposing wills, because it's you. Where were we going with that? The dichotomy of the opposing wills and the karma word. They're not engaged on every single conversation. They don't need to be. Your teams and your guides and your higher self are doing all of that stuff, doing all of the work. But they're engaged in if something is really important to you and you want to make sure that how, you know, your next unfolding of your plan, your next phase, if you will, because we're going into a new phase. You've closed out a lot of heavy karmic cycles. Now you're going into a whole new phase. It's going to be lighter. So that's what they were saying. These new codes, we will notice a lighter effect and a feeling in our collective. It will be lighter, because a lot of those controlling stories have been released and they're going off to play in those games, and we're going to be lighter because we've cleared it as a collective. We've understanding now what is control, what's not control, and everybody gets to choose. That's why the awakening of the collective is very important. There's no judgment. All right, everybody is needed and required in the game. You know, what part did you play last time around? That's why it's important to know that whatever you're doing now, you're going to come back to. And so be very discerning about what you think about sacrificing in anybody that engages in those types of things in spell work, because again, it's what you're going to return to, and you will be as struggling, you will be as blocked as anything that you're putting out there. You cannot switch anything by the simple thing of a sacrifice. It will be you. You are sacrificing yourself, and you will be in a timeline where you will experience great sacrifice and poverty, whatever it is that you're doing. You know, nobody escapes that. Nobody. Doesn't matter what any entity or any person in any group thinks they're saying to you. They don't understand universal law. And so discern. Discern what sounds right. Does that sound like a balanced universe? Yeah, no. You can't take somebody's... No. No. But I mean, I guess it's purposeful if you want to think that, but it's not actually what's going on, because you will be back and you're going to be going through exactly what you tried to do to somebody else. So what does Sally say? Oftentimes, when you are feeling stuck in an issue that you cannot seem to close or heal or transcend, ask for assistance and just let it go, because the energies on the earth right now are so advanced that you get to kind of just let it go and let it sort itself out, and just give it a couple of days and things will be a bit lighter and everybody will have a different perspective. That's how fast things are changing, because you're changing timelines all the time. That's why it's important to do your journaling, set your intentions at the beginning and the end of every day. I usually do at the end of the day. I usually do my healing and my youth program. And so that just brings your body into a really profound ready state when you're going to sleep. So we can do a video about that too. So that's it, dear lighter ones. That was really, really fun. So exciting. And the next one we're going to do is we're going to do some sound and light language, because sound is really important for helping the bodies accept light and process light. So light language is going to be really important with sound. And so I'm going to be incorporating the light language sound on my little artwork. We're going to be doing sound and tone with the artwork. So anybody that wants those cost $75. Just the artwork is $22 US. So thank you so much, dear lighted ones. We love you so very much. So speak with your guides, get happy, get loving, embrace change, get excited about change. We love you so very much. I love that you reach out. I love you all. You're very, very beautiful souls. You've been here. You've earned your Akash. Know that, claim it, live in it, and know that you're very, very beautiful and God loves you all. The God in all things and the God in life between life and beyond the beyond. We love you so very much. We wish you very, very hearty rainbow hugs and tickles. And we love you in this new version and this new season of light. Feel into the new light codes. Feel into feeling expansive in your own consciousness, feeling expansive in who you are, able to feel yourself with the Mother and the Father and Gaia. Feel into those and start playing more with consciousness, and give yourself greater time to slow down, get purposeful in your actions, get purposeful in your intentions, and start releasing and being of greater discernment on what you're releasing and letting go of. And so they all are co-related. They're all play part in part. And remember to write down and really practice those tips that I gave you at least a couple times a day, especially when we're going through the equinoxes and the solstices, because they're accelerated light. And we love you so very much, dear lighted ones. And any information, donation keys, everything is below. And we love you so very much. Namaste and bye.